What's going on, guys? It's another day here at the Double Wide Carport Studios, and I think it's about time I introduce you to my big old dirty rear end. Not that one. You gotta pay $19.95 a month to see that one. Would it really be a trailer park if I didn't have car parts on the front porch? This is Project Down a Fuse GM 10-bolt rear axle. And what you want to do is hang the vent line away from the oil pan so it drips on the concrete. Just a tip for you guys. And GM is really good about how they name their axles. If you have all your fingers, you can figure out what you have when it's a half-ton axle. It's a 10-bolt because there's 10 bolts. When you start getting into the 12 bolts and the 14 bolts, you have to use your toes to figure that one out. But she's dirty. She's rusty. She looks like my neighbor's. Now these lines have been on here since 1864. I think these came off my grandpa's stagecoach. So I went ahead and soaked these down with about 1.5 gallons of peanut butter bastard. So that should do absolutely nothing, and I should break them off. That's okay, I already plan on replacing them. If I can give you guys a tip on these axles, if you ever go to change the differential fluid, make sure that this drain plug comes out first. I've had friends that have dumped all the fluid out of their axle and then they weren't able to refill it and they had to drill that entire thing out, so just keep that in mind. I don't know what gear ratio is in here because I was too lazy to look. It's too hard to open the glove box. So I'm going to pop this cover off and do it the hard way and count the ring gear and the pinion. I believe it has a locker. I don't know if they had the G80 in these. If you guys know, comment it down below. I think G80 stands for grenades into 80 pieces. But anyways, I'm going to get you guys set up and I'm going to pop this cover off and never be able to get that smell out of my clothes. If you guys are ever taking lines off that are in this condition, first thing to do would be soak them like I said, and then use a flare nut wrench. You want something that'll give you the best odds as possible. This is a 14 millimeter, so I grabbed a 16 millimeter, just for practice. Once I put that back, I got the 14 millimeter. And I'm going to give this a shot. I don't have a lot of faith in this. You can take pliers or a vice grip and pinch the line, kind of hold it still as you work this back and forth, just so it doesn't twist that line off. But let's see what happens. It broke. I'm going to work it back and forth for a little bit. I think we're good. Well, I guess PB Blaster does what it says sometimes. Alright, well, I'm going to get this one out. I'm going to work on the other 52. And then I'll bring you guys back when I pop open that diff cover. I just can't believe it. They all came off. Every single one of them came off without giving me any fight. Well, that one's darker than my soul, but it's in there. And it may be common sense, but leave stuff like this on when you go to take these off so you have support and you're not bouncing all over the place like a fat guy jogging. I'm so happy I could tell my wife I love her. I mean, I won't, but I could. All right, I'm gonna bend all these tabs off, remove these brake lines, and then pop open that diff cover. Now, when it comes to these 10 bolts, all 10 bolts are 13 millimeter. So go ahead and grab a 14 and a 15. That way you can get your cardio in by going across the property 2 times to get the right size. And then wonder to yourself, if you're not as good at measuring as you thought you were, and those 8 inches weren't really 8 inches, So I'm going to start popping these off. The way I like to do it is I like to completely remove the bottom ones up to about this point on both sides, and then just loosen these up top. Then I crack it open, and then it drains out and it only makes a giant mess. So let's get started. Didn't snap out. I dropped it, whatever. Yep, never see that again. Gross. Oh, come on. 8-foot threads. I'm just going to crack these open. And don't worry, if you do this wrong and you pry up too hard, you'll only warp this so it'll never seal again and it'll constantly leak, so it's not that big of a deal. And then take your hardest, sharpest metal tool and cram it in the mating surface, that way you gouge it and it leaks. Oh yeah, look at that. Hershey's syrup. Right on the concrete. That's good. Yep, it stinks. I'm going to bring you back once I get this cover off and this molasses stops draining. Alright guys, I got that cover off and I sprayed everything out with brake clean. I went and did a little bit of surface prep on the differential cover sealing area. What I'm going to do next, since I plan on stripping and repainting this whole axle, is I'm going to spray the interior where the ring and pinion is with WD-40 or PB or something like that, just so it doesn't flash rust. And I cleaned out the differential cover, but I'm gonna clean the whole area around, put it back on without the gasket or sealant or anything, and then just cover it up. That way I can go through the whole axle. Then when it comes time to do everything, I'll clean everything out again, reseal it, put a new differential cover on, new silicone, and refill it with oil. But I don't see any damage. The wear pattern on the ring gear actually looks really good. The spider gears look like they're in good condition. I don't see anything wrong with it. And if I remember right, it didn't really leak. It might have had a slight leak at the pinion seal, but I'll look at that when I get up there. All right, I'm gonna clean up that differential cover and get this all sealed up. That way I can get going on to the next step. Gave her a quick clean. She's looking good. I don't see any grease or any gasket material left. I gotta work on these bolts because they have weaves. This is still looking pretty good. I'm gonna get these cleaned up, throw everything back together, and then I'm gonna start stripping this axle. Alright guys, I've been going at this for a couple hours now. I want to show you what I've got done. Lots and lots of work to get this done. I'm probably 4 or 5 hours into this. You can see a lot of rust has come off of this. About halfway done. I still got this entire side to go. I'm hoping to have this in paint by the end of tomorrow. I'd like to get the truck rolling on its own instead of sitting on jack stands in my driveway. Let me show you some of the stuff I've done so far. I tend to worry about the details that nobody's going to notice. Like you look at this, you can see all the casting flash that's on it. And then you look at this other side. I cleaned all that up. I'm going to keep going after it. I'm going to put you guys up on the tripod so you can watch. I wish I had a way to tell you that, you know, the simplest way to do it is like this, but I don't. Every bit of this sucks. I'm gonna be here for another 6 hours probably. All right, get ready to watch. Hey guys, I got a little bit of a change of plans on old project down a few here. The management of my community that I live in switched and we're no longer allowed to work on vehicles. So I had to move the rear axle from out front and I got plans for that, but I wanted to show you an update of where everything is as it sits. Sorry for the lighting guys, but here's the truck as it sits. You can see it still looks way better than it did before. Covered in dust or not, I definitely prefer black to brown. I don't think I had the leaf springs on it last time I showed you, and I don't think I had the bump stops, but there they are. Both sides. Still new fuel tank, everything taped off. Yep. If I could focus. Still looking 1,000% better. I'm gonna wash it off probably today or tomorrow. And if you just watched my previous video, there's the headlights. Alright, I'm going to take you to the back of the truck and we'll talk about what's going on with the rear axle. I have the rear end sitting in my Silverado right now. You can see, got a lot of the work done on it. But that's as far as I'm able to make it. I am going to take this down to a sandblaster and have them see if they can finish this out for me so I can paint it and get it back under the truck. Hey guys, the background may look a little different than you're used to. I'm editing this video right now and it turns out I don't have footage for the ending. So, this is it. I just want to say thank you for everyone that's been paying attention and keeping along with me. I appreciate the patience and I welcome all the new subscribers. I really appreciate everyone. I'm going to get the sandblasting quote for that rear axle this week or maybe have somewhere else to do it. I appreciate everybody and I'll see you next time. Thank you.